Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verses 6 to 10, please.
Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura eva cha daivo vistarashah proktah asuram partha me shrunu pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham na pichacharah na satyam teshu vidyate asatyam apratishtham te jagadahuranishwaram aparasparasambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam etam drishtimavashtabhya nashtatmanolpabuddhayah prabhavantyugrakarmanah kshayaya jagato hitaha kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadhanvitaha mohat grihitva sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha.
Yesterday we studied the 26 qualities of the divine, and in the third verse that we concluded yesterday, he said, these belong to one born of divine state, O Bharata, O Arjuna. So, how do we measure our divine nature? Generally speaking, we may not know these 26 qualities. We have yet to understand the asuric qualities, which we are going to study today. But generally speaking, how does one know whether you are on this path of spiritual evolution or not? It is one's interest in the self in you, the God principle in you. How many of us would be interested to know what is our essential being? What is it that makes you who you are, without which you are not who you essentially are? We know, when you ask about yourselves, you know about your own physical body, or maximum you can say, I know this individuality, this person. I am this person with this name, this family, this relationship, this social status, position. There are a lot of facts that we know about ourselves, but that is not your essential nature. So, in and through what we do in life, we are all engaged in life already. We call ourselves well placed or well settled. Whatever you may presently enjoy, as far as your status is concerned, your life is concerned, are you still interested in knowing who you essentially are? When we say that, it's not a casual interest. Yes, let's find out. What is it? What is it that I need to know? It must be a very deep and sincere query. In fact, it is so deep, that query. Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he describes it in a different way. It's that desire to be liberated from what you know of yourself or your life here. So you may not run away from anything, but within yourself, there is a burning desire to know, who am I? What am I? Why am I in this world? What am I supposed to achieve in this world? This must bother you. Bother you in the sense, not worry you, but it must concern you most of all other things. So, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he says, that desire to liberate is like the feeling one has when he is pushed under the level of water. Imagine somebody is pushed under the level of water. He is suffocating. He wants to get a whiff of air. That's all he wants. And until he gets that, he cannot rest comfortably. It's almost automatic. That is the kind of pressure one would have if you are truly interested in finding the self. And that is called mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is the desire to liberate. Now, it doesn't disturb you in your day-to-day affairs. It doesn't take you away from your obligations. But you can be successful in this world. You could be what we call a happy person in this world. You got to have a good family. Everything's, the circumstance that you live in is more or less all right. You have nothing to complain about. Yet, there is a discomfort that you feel. You're not satisfied with anything that you have. Not in a complaining manner. I'm dissatisfied with this. I don't like that. We don't mean in that sense. But you understand clearly, this cannot be everything. Whatever I'm enjoying in this world, whatever is happening in my life, this cannot be anything, everything. You refuse to be complacent. That feeling when you got, there is this desire to find your essential being. Then you can say you're on the spiritual path or you're seeking your divine nature. So it's not that you lead a good life and you become divine, but there is that burning need well within your personality not to be satisfied with everything or anything in this world, but to keep seeking that truth in you. That makes all these qualities meaningful that he says. These belong to one born of divine state of Bharata. So that's the 26 qualities that we studied. And you must make a note. You know, that last quality we talked about. He said, na ati manita. Not absence of much pride. Not having much pride. So that must strike you. What does he mean by much pride? The fact that you are born, you're this person sitting here, in itself is ego. Even if you're the nicest person in the world, still it is a consolidated ego. You know, we take camphor to a temple. It's very interesting what that means. Camphor is your vasanas consolidated, because that is what camphor represents. Camphor is just fragrance. See, if you leave a sample of pure camphor outside, it will simply sublimate into fragrance. And you enter that area where the camphor was kept, you would automatically react, was there some camphor here? But there is no camphor. It's just fragrance. So camphor is said to represent your personality. You are a substantial form, solid person sitting here, substantial form of insubstantial vasanas, qualities. Who are you? Ultimately, who are you? You're a solid person sitting here, but from where did you come? Your own vasanas. So each one is unique, different from the other because of the vasanas. And vasana literally translates into fragrance. Vasana means fragrance, and that is represented as camphor. So you take this camphor to a temple. Then when you reach the temple, you offer it along with the fruit and flowers or whatever you have brought to the priest. You don't go directly to the sanctum sanctorum. Up to a point you go. Take the 3 pradakshinas and go to the sanctum sanctorum. There, you hand over the camphor. It's all symbolic. In fact, those who are not familiar with what I'm saying, there is a book that Swamiji has written. It's called Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. Those who are interested, who are already following all this and not particularly knowing why they're doing it, it makes it very meaningful. The next time you do it, you will do it with bhavana, because you know why you're doing it. So you give the camphor to the priest. Priest takes it and lights the camphor from the lamp there. There is one solitary lamp. See, the traditional temples, the sanctum sanctorum is absolutely pitch dark and the idol is black. So some people said, why is all this dark, and they put tube lights? Because nobody knows the meaning. Somebody who are thinking they're helping people, you must see, you must see. Please analyze what happens. So in that Mulasthanam, you give the camphor, the priest lights the camphor from the lamp. Then he shows the arati. When the arati is going on, the bells are ringing, what does a devotee do? What does a devotee do? What do you do? Close the eyes. All the way you've gone to the temple to get darshan of the Lord. You are standing in the queue for hours. And when you finally come directly in front of the idol, see, all this is, it should inspire you. Because what it means is, what you are seeking is not there. It's within yourself. So you are going all over the place seeking something which is right within your own personality. That place you are not seeking. Everywhere else you are seeking. That's why the Upanishads say, Hanta, Hanta, alas, alas. So when that camphor is burning, it releases that soot, black soot. That is the ego. And when will you release that black soot? When your personality is set aflame with the knowledge of the truth. And who has access? The guru, the master, the books, whatever be the source from which you gain knowledge. That will help you burn this personality. That ego is reduced. And when that is reduced alone, you get the darshan of the Lord, not there, but within your personality. So this is the meaning of utilizing this individuality. See, if you don't do this, if you don't go to the temple, temple means if you don't seek the higher and choose to encourage the individuality and ego, then you move to what we are going to be studying today. See, one is you take up this knowledge. Every aspect of your personality is soaked with this knowledge, is set aflame, as it were. Every aspect, which means your material life. See, you're contacting the world. You can't shut your eyes and ears and sit quietly in a place. You're going to be contacting the world from the time you wake up till you sleep at night. From birth to death, you are in touch with the world. So you will be contacting the world. You will be enjoying the world. You have to eat your food, you have to live in a home, you have to move around in cars, you have to wear clothes, you have to meet people. All this is going on. So, nothing wrong with all this. It's not what you do that matters, but how you do it, why you do it. That makes you worldly or spiritual. Yogaratova, bhogaratova, sangaratova, sangavihinaha, said the great Adi Shankaracharya and the Bhajagovindam. You can be in yoga, meaning you can be sitting in an ashram or a temple or some spiritual organization. Bhogaratova, you could be in the world of things and beings, of all these possessions and enjoyments. Sangaratova, sangavihinaha. You can be in the company of society and people, or sangavihinaha. You could extricate yourself from company and be by yourself. All these things have no meaning with reference to your spiritual status. Like we said, you can be in a temple and have worldly thoughts. You can be in your business and have spiritual thoughts. It is what values you have. Where do you place the world of things and beings? That makes you what you are. Materialistic, sensual, or spiritual. So, if you choose a life to burn this ego and individuality with the fire of knowledge, which is what we are trying to achieve here, and we've already told you there is enough literature, enough scope for anyone in this classroom to pursue the knowledge. Whether you're here or you come to the academy, you have an opportunity. Now, if you choose to ignore and carry on with what you're doing in the world, then you see what could happen. We see it in the 4th verse.
Dambho darpobhimanascha krodhah parushyameva cha ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadamasurim. Dambho darpobhimanascha krodhah parushyameva cha ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadamasurim.
Ostentation, arrogance, self-conceit and anger, also harshness and ignorance belong, O Partha, to one born of demoniac nature. So, only 6 qualities. Even one is enough to destroy your well-being, mental well-being. You may be all right materially, physically, but mentally it is impossible to be peaceful and happy, joyful and cheerful unless you develop the divine qualities. I don't know how many of you have been attending these lectures, but I can give you one example to explain what we mean. See, there is only one way. There is no two ways. Either you move in the right path, when we say right, towards your own self, your divine nature, or you move away from your divine nature. You have choice of 2. Now, your whole life depends on the choice that you have made or making. In life, please understand, every human has what is called choice. I think we discussed that even yesterday. See, that makes us or sets us apart from the rest of creation. No other creature is given this ability to choose its life. It has to live the life it is born for. For example, a tiger is ferocious. It cannot become meek and mild. It has to live and die a ferocious creature. A cow is born meek and mild. It will live such a life. It will die such a life. It will die being meek and mild. It cannot change. But a human can be born meek and mild, can become arrogant. A human being can be born with negative qualities and shed it all and become divine. That scope is only found in human life. Why? Because humans alone have choice. I know you can all understand that. But what you must try and go deeper and understand within yourself is, everyone sitting in this classroom, without exception, and all human beings outside this classroom. See, from the day you are born, you are performing actions. Up to a point, you're not conscious. That's why babies, they don't know what they're doing. Children, they don't know what they're doing. But once they reach the age of 8 or 9 or 10, they become conscious. They know what they're doing, more or less. But by the time you become an adult, a normal human being, is conscious of what he or she is doing. So, what do you do from morning till night, from birth to death? You are continuously performing actions. In fact, action, you can say, is the insignia of life. Constantly performing actions. So, while everyone has freedom to do whatever he wishes to do, whatever she wishes to do, you can do anything. Who can stop you? All right. Having performed an action and you have total freedom, you must realize one thing. There is such a thing as consequence. Consequence, it's an effect. Every single action. It's not only external action, what you think, what you feel. Every moment this is going on till the day you die. So what we're trying to say is you have no idea how many actions you're performing. You're not even conscious. And every action has a reaction, has a consequence. So imagine the cumulative effect of this day backward, your life. Today you are what you are. You say, I'm happy, I'm unhappy, I'm successful, unsuccessful. Whatever be your condition today is nothing but the sum total of all that you have done this day backward. Even what you have felt, what you have thought, one negative thought, you may have done all good charitable deeds externally. Internally, if you entertain negative thoughts, it is accounted. There is an accounting system. So it's like your bank balance. This is credit, 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 debit, debit, credit, 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 debit, debit. Whatever you have done, your transactions are on record. So when you go to a bank and ask for the statement, Arey, what happened? My bank balance is so low. You can't go and argue with the manager. Arey, what have you done to my bank balance? We have done nothing except accounting. There cannot be a mistake. Today your bank balance is low because of all the debits. Your bank balance is high because of all the credits. Similarly, you are a balance of all the debits and credits that you have done this day backward. That choice you have. So if you want to do something with your own life, you better be conscious of the choices you're making, of your actions, your feelings, your thoughts. All put together is one's life. So if you want to change it, of course, you be conscious from now on what you are doing, feeling, thinking. But I have been different in the past. Yes, it may take some time to change, but change is surely possible in the life of a human. If it has been a very negative past, it may take a little more time. If it is mediocre, it should not take much time. But that choice you have and you're making, all you need to do is be conscious because it is your life, right? So, coming back, you have a choice to go back to your own divine nature or away. So, I'm giving a small example which we use almost every year. But I always appeal to those who have not heard the example so that you get the point that we're trying to make. So, imagine a coil spring. You understand a coil spring? Yes? No? Okay. Because I must know if you're listening to me. You're so serious, I don't know whether you're listening. Okay, you're listening. Coil spring 4 feet high. Imagine. Okay? I compress it to 1 foot. What do you think is happening to my palm? Pressure. Urging it which way? Upward. Only one direction. I want you to make a mental note. It is only one direction. There are no two directions. So, a coil spring 4 feet high, I compress it to 1 foot. Tremendous pressure urging it upward. I release it to 2 feet. What happens? Less pressure. 3 feet. Still less pressure. 4 feet. 4 feet. What happens? Only few people are understanding, I think. Voices are not coming at all. 4 feet, what happens? Papa, thank God. See, in these classes, it is so conducive. After some time, people are different realm. So I have to check whether you are awake or not. That's why I ask, not to test your intelligence. At least for 1 hour, please be awake. So now and then these sort of things help, So 4 feet, there is no pressure. We all agree. The question is, why is there no pressure at 4 feet? Please. Why? It has reached its natural state. It's a simple example, right? Now please equate this example to what an average human being goes through. Everybody is going through pressures. Student says, I've got exam pressures. Housewife says, oh, daily work, water will not come, a driver will not come, a school bus does not come, and the husband does not, so many pressures. Husband says, what is this lady complaining? Well, let her come and work in my office. All the time I have all sorts of problems. I have to bring back the pay package. He is happily spending what I bring back. It is a pressure to go to the office. Traffic is a problem. Coming to Bhagavad Gita lectures, pressurized. Right, traffic. Parking is a problem. Latest pressure. Everybody is going through pressure, tension, worry, anxiety. But you got your fingers ready because you say, I am pressurized because. Because what? This is happening in the world. If only I change that, believe me, I will be in heaven, 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 heaven. If only. So if I were to ask each one, which I am not going to ask, sir, please tell your story. By God's grace, everything is good. I am a very happy person, all that. But what happened? Daughter not married. These days, we want to see the children settled. After all that I have done, the child is not settled. Terrible life, pressurized. Second person you ask, by God's grace, everything is fine. And the daughter, everybody is settled, but she is on the verge of separation. Now that becomes a pressure. So married, not married is a problem. Now married but problems, that is a problem. Third person married and now separation, that is a problem. Isn't it terrible to be separated? Terrible. What to do? So each one has a story to tell. And each one says, see, my problem, you must understand, it's a terrible problem. I'm pressurized because of this situation. Innocent as we are, ignorant as we are, nobody suspects that anyone going through any pressure, we don't want to know what it is. There is only one reason. You are not in your original state. That's all. That's all he's saying. And what are you doing from morning till night? Anything, everything, but getting back to your original state. See, if you make some attempt to get back, instantly the pressures will ease. But you're not doing anything. You're going through the same thing over and over again. No attempt to find out, is there something I need to do to set my life right? No attempt. So here is an attempt to explain to you, there is another way of life. It does not disturb your present life. It is a small investment you have to make of your own time and effort. First thing in the morning, spend 45 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you can manage to take in this knowledge. So when you take in this knowledge and in time understand it, implement it in your own life, you are releasing that pressure. And as you do it, you will experience you are more and more peaceful. You are more and more blissful. You are able to handle any challenge that comes your way. And nobody is free from challenges. Everybody has challenges. The question is, are you prepared? How far have you prepared yourself? That will make a difference in your life. If you choose to ignore all this and carry on with what you're doing, let's see what happens. Dambaha, ostentation, is a falsely stimulated virtue. It's a pretense. It could be at material level. You remember we talked about the terrible problem Indians have. The biggest weakness Indians have is weddings. It's a show. You want to show more than what you have. You will harm yourself. You will beg. You will borrow. Hope you don't steal. but at least that you may not do. But begging and borrowing, unnecessary. See, even the ladies, they don't have the jewelry, they will hire it. Why? For what? Whom are you trying to impress? What are you trying to do? But it's a weakness. Just be what you are. You have something, you don't have to display, but if you want to display, be done with it. Whatever you are worth. But that dambaha, that wanting to display more than what you are, materially, it could be physically, it could be even emotionally. See, you display love, but actually you hate. So it is dambaha. It's just ostentation. And not to talk of knowledge. See, even knowledge. If somebody asks you a question, yes, I know that. You don't know that. But you're ashamed to admit that this is where I am. If I show that I look stupid, you are stupid. Why do you want to say you look stupid? But we cannot come to terms. Let me see. I don't know where I have it. But, yeah, here you are. John Maxwell is an American clergyman. He says, a man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. A man must, when a man, woman also. So don't say, oh, that is not for us, every human, okay? A human, all right, human must be big enough to admit mistakes. Admit, you are not perfect. No, I didn't do that, I didn't say it. Anybody says anything, instantly you must defend yourself. Why do you want to defend? If you are correct, it will show. But the defense comes because you can't admit you have made a mistake. So you must be big enough. If you are big enough, you will admit. Smart enough to profit from them. All right, I made a mistake. I must make sure next time I don't do it. Profit from, you learn from that. And strong enough to correct them. There is no shyness. What is there to admit? Even to your own children, you can admit it. But that doesn't mean you ask, please, what are all my faults? You don't go to the other extreme. You go home and ask your wife, I want to know what are your faults. You will not stop hearing it. Because every day she'll only be talking about that. So don't make that mistake. Don't have to be vulnerable, but available for correction. The dambaha is taken care when you come to terms with your own personality. Darpaha, arrogance, and assumed superiority. It's a complex, superiority complex. See, you may be superior, you don't have to feel superior. That feeling of superiority is a complex. It's an asuric quality, though you may be superior. So, darpaha, abhimana. Abhimana is an exaggerated opinion of oneself. You feel you are worthy of adoration. Yes, you must adore me. But silently, you're not saying it. You expect that. That is why they give, positions. You are the chairman of this meeting. Worthless position. But you feel very good. I am the main person, main chair. See, that psychology, even industries work on it. So you go business class. All right, please go business class. But that kick you get, that lady will call out your name. You know my name. You feel you're on a high, And the treatment they give, like a Maharaja you're treated. If they catch you outside that aircraft, you won't even be seen. But just because you've paid for it, you've paid for that respect, you get little bit. You get carried away. You start acting. What are you doing? Can you please bring me this? Why haven't you brought me that? We see passengers, just because they're sitting in the business class, throwing the weight around. Arrogant. Abhimanaha. Abhimanaha, an exaggerated opinion of yourself. You feel you need to be adored. And then self-importance. So much importance you give for your own personality. And then you don't recognize the contributions of others. You believe in everything, I have done this, I have achieved it. This is an expression of ego, abhimanaha. Krodha. Krodha is an outcome of your involvement with your own desires. See, when you act on desire, first the thoughts go into the world. What is desire? We all use that word desire so often. The truth is, your essential nature is paripurna, is a state of total fulfillment. That is your real nature. Now today, you are not fulfilled. So many unfulfilled desires. So when you are ignorant of your true nature, you experience, unfortunately, an imaginary void. There is no void. But you experience an imaginary void because you are ignorant of your true nature. Now when there is a void, your thoughts run into the world to fulfill an incompleteness felt within. These thoughts going into the world to fulfill an imaginary void is called desire. So desire is nothing but thoughts going from you to the world of objects and beings to procure and enjoy, only to fulfill that void that you feel. So, hunger, you will understand hunger. So, when you have hunger, there is a void you feel within you. Then what happens? Thoughts go towards an object called food. Why? Because food, when you procure and enjoy means you consume, that emptiness is fulfilled. This is the reason you will desire for food. Now, this is understandable. But there are millions and millions of thoughts that are going into the world to fulfill that incompleteness that you feel within. This is desire. Now, when desire is interrupted, and that could happen to any and many of these million thoughts that are going, then you experience anger. So anybody says, I get angry, please understand there is some desire that is being interrupted. And it is not so much the desire, but lack of control over the desire that causes anger. As long as you are not in your perfect state, you will have desires. You can't get rid of them. So there is a method which we are not discussing now. In fact, they give the 3 yogas, karma, bhakti, jnana. Why 3? Because you have a physical body, you have a mind, you have an intellect. You have to use all the 3. And do what? Find your way towards your essential nature, which is paripurna, totally fulfilled. So this is the spiritual path which will lead you to the ultimate goal of total fulfillment. Now, as you go along the path, you cannot reach there overnight, but as you progress, you become more and more fulfilled in life. That is how you will move. But until you get there, desires will be there. It may become less and less, but they are still there. It is your involvement with desires that causes all these problems. So desire is not by itself a problem, but your infatuation, your total identification with the desire, that makes you lose your peace of mind. You get into krodha. In fact, there are several modifications. To simplify it, any form of negative emotion, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. You don't have to worry about Sanskrit words. You just remember any negative emotion. Anything negative. Fear, anger, hatred, jealousy, greed, passion, lust. You can go on adding. Anything negative is a modification of desire. Meaning you are a victim of desire. So it is impossible that you can ever be unhappy unless you are a victim of your own mind. Now, how foolish that can be. It happens. See, sometimes, if you are not careful, it has happened, I have seen it myself, I am sure you will understand. The people who are careless, they keep their hand near the car door. If you keep it near the hinge and then close the door, you start shouting. Why? That finger is jammed, finger is jammed. Who closed it? You yourself closed it. But you put your hand in the wrong place and hurt yourself. So you are inflicting pain on yourself by your own foolishness. This is the tragedy of Krodha or any negative emotion. So, asuric quality. And then he says, Parushyam. Parushyam is a harshness. So, harshness comes when you frustrate yourself. You suppress desires. Okay, you say, I got to discipline myself. So, what do? You unintelligently suppress and frustrate your desires. As a result of that suppression, you exhibit a harshness. Sometimes they say, puja, the lady is doing puja for 3 hours. And then what is the talk in the home? Keep quiet, keep quiet. Why? Grandmother is coming out of puja. Now, why are you so afraid? Because for 3 hours she suppressed all her other desires. First thing she'll get anger. Why are you people talking like that? Why are you? First anger comes out. It is a sign of suppression. It is harshness. When it exhibits, it is a sure sign of harshness. So these people are, because they do not have a higher ideal in life, they are carried away by the lower desires, which cannot be fulfilled all the time. And so they are always frustrated about something which has not been fulfilled. So the Asuric people are largely harsh because of suppression and unfulfillment of desires. And then Ajnanam. I don't have to tell you that. Ignorant of your pure self. They bask in that. They are not even concerned. If you tell them, why don't you come for Gita class? As though I have no other work. Why are you calling me? I am all right. You fellows want, you go to Gita class. And if a youngster comes, which I always keep looking, very rarely you see youngsters. They ask, why are you going? Are you depressed? Why are you, if normal fellow will not come? Or, oh, she rejected you, is it? So some love failure, therefore he is going for Gita class. Nobody will believe that a person will come to find out. I want to find out what the Bhagavad Gita says. No, something has gone wrong. They tell us also, why have you all taken up this very nice, good work, excellent work, such noble work? All that they say, first, alapam. Then the main song will come. But tell us one question, personal question can we ask? Yes, what is the personal? At such a young age, now they don't ask, but earlier, at such a young age, why have you taken this? Some problem? Some tragedy in the house? This question you're asking, that is the tragedy. Don't understand. Why do you need to find out anything about yourself? World is there, na? Why are you bothered? That is when you are about to die. That time we'll say Narayana, Narayana, that time. We'll remember the Lord then. Now we can think about the world and enjoy. Is a typical quality of an asura. Asuric quality, ignorance. They do not care for the truth. So such people, he says, of a demonic nature. Next verse.
Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata Mashucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava.
The divine nature is deemed for liberation, the demoniac for bondage. Grieve not. Krishna is telling Arjuna, grieve not. You are born of divine nature, O Pandava. In fact, when Krishna is talking to Arjuna, he is talking to all of us. I told you yesterday, you can congratulate yourself. The fact that you are present here, it has to be the divine nature. So when Arjuna has asked Krishna, and the Bhagavad Gita was given out, 18 chapters, 701 verses. When Arjuna collapsed on the battlefield, he surrendered to Krishna and said, please guide me. I am confused. I do not know what to do. Please give me that guidance. It's only when Arjuna surrendered. That's why 1 chapter, 10 verses, we've lost completely of the Bhagavad Gita. First chapter and 10 verses in the second chapter. We don't even take it up because there is nothing philosophical. It's only about Arjuna's despondent condition, which we are very familiar with. We don't need to study Gita for that. We can write 18 chapters of despondency. So we don't need. But so sage Vyasa gave that as a starting point for the discourse of the Bhagavad Gita. And only when he completely surrendered, that's when Krishna started. This famous verse, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam aswargyam akirtikaram. Arjuna, it is anaryan, akirti. Why have you fallen into this state of despondency? You are a human. You are not an animal. You are not a plant. Plant can't do anything with its life. If a plant doesn't have nourishment at its root, it will die. But it does not know how to help itself. Even if there's a pool of water 5 yards away, it cannot take it. It will die of lack of water. That is the dependence of a plant. An animal can adjust, but not beyond a point. Like we said yesterday, a carnivore cannot become a herbivore. A herbivore cannot become a carnivore. It will die. A cow will die without fodder. Even if there's plenty of meat, it cannot touch it. It cannot survive. It does not know how. That is its limitation. Similarly, a carnivore cannot survive on vegetation if it does not have meat. It cannot switch to becoming a vegetarian. Cannot. That is its limitation. But a human, you are designed to be completely independent. And what have you made of yourself? You are worse than a plant. If the wife smiles, my day is good. If she has got a stomachache and does not smile, finished. I can't go to office today. Why? Look at that face. How can I go to office? A man cannot go to office because a lady cannot smile. What is that dependence? Whether it is husband and wife or a terrible dependence on children. Will they do well? Will they do well? Will that fellow get a good wife? Will that fellow get a good wife? That lady is suffering, suffering, suffering. Why? Boy has to be married, boy has to marry. Tension. Amma, the good boy, very good boy. My boy is a very good boy. That is the problem. The girls are terrible girls. Horrible girls. Rakshasi is there. There is not daughter-in-law, there is a dragon-in-law. That girl once, I've heard so many stories. I'm very afraid for this boy, very afraid. So that boy says, Amma, you please choose whoever you want. So that lady is scanning every function she starts attending because she must find the right girl for her son. And every person she meets, Jatakam, that horoscope, horror-scope. Not horoscope, horror, because it brings horror to your life. All that you do and find that girl. Appa, lady is so happy. I knew my boy will get a good girl. All that you are happily seeing that lady enjoying. She's buying saris and jewelry and all that. My boy is getting married, And how is the girl? Oh, angel, very nice girl, very nice family. Before marriage. 3 months after marriage, you see her. She is putting her head down and walking. Because you meet her in the walking, Kaban Park, I don't know which park. You all go walking. So you meet. Amma, what happened? What happened? Why are you going? How are you? Okay. Everything okay. But you're newly married. Yeah. They have their own life, children. They don't think about the elders. They have their own. We can't interfere because she tried to interfere. What happened? That same thing these days. Girls. But you said angel. Angel she was. I do not know what happened. She is not the person we selected. Something has happened. So this lady can't get along with the young girl. That young girl can't get along with this lady. See, this fellow is tossed around by both of ladies in the house. See, he comes home from office. If he goes to the wife, Amma, how are you? That lady, you want to live with your mother, then why do you go? I'll go to my mother's house. That girl is saying, yeah, what is this problem? So she starts looking at the wife. Mother says, see, 26 years I took care of him. Look at him now. If that lady calls, immediately he goes. This is the problem. So he is tired of listening to that. First of all, office he has to face his boss, his colleagues, all the problems. Then he comes home. It is a tennis match going on between the two of them. If he looks at the wife, mother gets angry. If he looks at the mother, wife gets angry. Then he saw Bhagavad Gita lectures. He's come and somewhere here he is sitting. At least 4 evenings he wants relief. People come for various reasons, Gita class. Not necessarily for study. Sometimes relief. So, he's saying, if you choose not to take up the higher values, you will be bound by something or the other. You have no choice. So he says, your divine nature, you have come. The divine nature is deemed for liberation. That's what Krishna says. How have you fallen? You have the capacity. Why are you behaving in this manner? Because your divine nature is deemed for liberation. You're capable of liberating yourself. The demoniac, those who do not choose that life, are bound. Grieve not. You're all born. Means every human is born of divine nature. It goes without saying. But we need to work towards it and find it.
Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura eva cha daivo vistarashah proktah asuram partha me shrunu. Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura eva cha daivo vistarashah proktah asuram partha me shrunu.
The two created beings in this world are the divine and demoniac. The divine has been described in detail. Hear from me, O Partha, the demoniac. Now some of you may wonder, because when we say gunas, these are gunas, divine, demoniac. We usually describe 3 types of people. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Sattvic, you could say, divine nature is sattva. The demoniac, agitating, worried, anxious, anger, hatred, jealousy, fear, all these things, Rajasic nature. So, what happened to the Tamasic? He is not talking about tamas at all. Because Tamasic people are not available. Only these two are available. See, first of all, you must move from inertia to action. The first thing that will happen is selfish, self-centered life and action. That you can convert into unselfish and selfless. So that is why he is talking about only 2 sets of people, because the third set is asleep, yet to wake up. There's no point talking to sleeping people. So that is why some of you may wonder, we have 3 gunas, why is only 2 mentioned, divine and demoniac? What about the tamasic? Tamas cannot be addressed at the moment. So we are discussing only these 2. He says there are 2 created beings in the world. Asuric are always agitated. They can do whatever they want in this world. They can achieve, but they can never be happy, never enjoy. And then Daivaha, they are the divine. They take their life seriously and understand, this is an opportunity that is given to me. I need to use it to, first of all, to become a better human. That's the number 1 thing we can do. And then if you work your way towards becoming a better human and traverse that path, you will hit the ultimate goal, which is your divine nature. This is the choice you have. Next verse.
Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha जनान विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जनान विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते.
The demoniac people do not know action from inaction. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. Also neither purity, na shaucham, nor good conduct, na acharah, nor truth, na satyam is found in them. So now he's from the 7th verse, which we've just started, right up to the 15th, he's talking about the demoniac nature and conduct, behavior. So again, the choice that you have, which is before you, you could make a wrong choice. See, these people, the demoniac, do not know action from inaction means what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. What is necessary, what is not necessary. What is important, what is unimportant. They don't know. So they make a wrong choice. And once you make a wrong choice, you lose shaucham, purity, meaning your conduct, your behavior, thought, word and deed is stained with impurity, means agitation. Any form of negative thought and feeling. Everything is stained with that. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you act is all stained with agitations, worries, anxieties. That is what he means by purity. So your conduct itself, your behavior is not in keeping with anything divine, because it's the opposite. And then he says, na acharah. There is no character. There are two things in life, conduct and character. Most people attend to conduct. Maximum you will do is conduct yourself properly, which is socially accepted in the world. But what is inside is just the opposite. So Oscar Wilde, he says, every little action of the common day makes or unmakes a character. See, from morning till night, how are you behaving? How are you acting? First thing in the morning, start screaming, shouting. Start with the servant, then the driver, all the fellows, because you pay. Just because you pay doesn't mean you start screaming and shouting. It's a na shaucham, na acharya, na satyam. That action. Just because you can. Why? You could be doing it to anybody who's below you. You dare not go to the boss and do that because you'll be out. But those who are dependent on you. See, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, very interesting, the president, one of the presidents of the United States. So he says, nearly all men can stand adversity. But if you want to test a man's character, give him power. That could happen in your own home. See, the moment you have earning power, how do you behave? The moment you are senior, see, parents are senior, children are dependent, how do you treat them? Just because they are under your control. That is why the moment they grow up, the moment they start earning, first target is the parent. If you have been abusing that power, they love you. Even though you may have done all sorts of wrong things, they love you. But that frustration that built up all through childhood, they let loose. That's why most of them, since they love you so much, they don't want to hurt you. Best thing is leave. First thing they separate. And you say, see, you blame it on the girl or something you blame, but actually it's yourself to blame. You have created that atmosphere for them to run away from you. It's abuse of power. So power can be anywhere. It's not just in your office. Office also, same thing. Just because you have. And those who have wealth are powerful. They could abuse that. So the test of character is to have the power and not use it. A famous story of Pativrata. You know, I don't know if you know that story. There was a great Pativrata living in the jungles she was married to an old rishi. She was serving, a beautiful lady, serving her husband, a rishi, in the jungles. So the prince of that state was riding a horse and saw this beautiful lady. And he just said, "Whoever you are, I'm willing to marry you." She said, "I am a married woman." And she walked away. He said, "So what?" And he kept pursuing her. She kept running away from him. And he didn't mean to harm her. He was genuinely fascinated and said, "I'm a king, I can do anything, whatever it is." And he genuinely wanted to marry the lady. So he was pursuing. And this lady kept running away and running away. She kept on running away from him, not because she was afraid. Because the moment she was so tired, she swooned and fell. And this prince went to revive her with some water. She opened her eyes. He was reduced to ashes. This is the power of a Pativrata. You don't have to get excited with the story. Anybody who has honesty of purpose, if you are dead honest to your purpose, you will have power. But you never want to use it. So she was running away to save him, not herself. She knew her power. And a stupid, innocent or ignorant fool, he tried to help her. But the moment she opened the eyes, he was reduced to bhasma. And this is only a story to tell the power of honesty. And when you're not honest, you have to use power. When you're honest, you don't have to use it. Your existence itself is power. You walk around, every fellow will behave himself. But when you're dishonest, then you have to exercise the power, which is not powerful. So, demoniac people do not know action from inaction, and there is no shaucham, conduct, there is no character, and no satyam. Whatever, they do not have ideals in life, they do not have a conviction in life, they just live for basic needs and enjoyments. That's all. Continues.
Asatyam pratishtham te jagadahuraneeshwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam. Asatyam pratishtham te jagadahuraneeshwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam.
They say the world is without reality, without foundation, without Lord, born of mutual union caused by lust. Kim anyat? What else? This whole world you're seeing, how did the world come? What are you talking about? Satyam or pratishtham, the substratum, there is a substratum. And which Lord? Two people get together, children are born. That is all. That is why you have so many people. Nothing else. Don't you understand? Which Lord can come and give me a child? I have to decide whether I want a child. That is what these fellows say. He says, the word that is used here is alpa buddhaya. Alpa buddhaya is a very dignified way of saying he has no brains. In the next verse, he uses the word alpa buddhi. It means small intellect. Small intellect means colossal fool. He's put it in a very dignified way. Then we don't get the, alpa buddhi, small buddhi. Next. No, it means a colossal fool. That's what he means. When you don't understand, see, sattvic intellect understands there is a truth, there is a reality, which is beyond our understanding. There is something. How do you know who orders the sun to rise every morning? Who orders the sun to set every night? Somebody is doing it. You don't know. So there is something that you don't know. You put a seed into earth, it springs forth into a plant, becomes a tree and gives you fruit. Mango season, you say, yeah, this is very good seed, very nice mango. Then what do? Save it. For what? Putting in your garden so that you can get that fruit. But you are not pulling the plant every day. It is growing. Who is enabling it to grow? Right now, you're sitting here, a human being. You're able to see. What is enabling you to see? You're not pushing the eye to see. You're hearing. What is enabling you to hear? Most of the things that are happening within you and in the world outside, you have no clue. So there is something beyond. Sattvic intellect understands. These fellows say, why you are worried? Sun will come up and go. What is your worry? Huh? Chicken come first, egg come first. Which came first? Could be your worry. Did the tree come first or the seed come first? Could be a concern. The Asuric fellow says, you are wasting your time. You are worried chicken come first, egg come first, chicken come. Eat both, na? Problem solved. Unnecessarily worried about which came first. Stupid fellows you are. Sattvic fellows are waste of time. Asuric fellow is happy in doing things, not concerned. Now, pratishtham, what is the foundation? What is Ishwaram? They are not concerned. But the Sattvic people are aware of this truth and want to know what that truth is. Next verse.
Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpabuddhayah prabhavantyugrakarmanah kshayaya jagato hitaha. Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpabuddhayah prabhavantyugrakarmanah kshayaya jagato hitaha.
Holding this view that we've just seen in the previous verse, not understanding that there is something beyond, there is a foundation that we don't know. How is everything meticulously functioning in this world? We don't know. To that something we don't know, we surrender. We give it a name, God. But we don't know who is God. Incidentally, Swamiji has written another book. It's called Theses on God. He calls it Theses because you cannot explain God. God cannot be understood. Is he person? Is he man, woman? Is he sitting in the heavens? Or where is he sitting? All sorts of questions. Oh, is he in a temple, church, mosque? Where is the God? No, some people say temple, some people say no, mosque, some people say church, and we are all confused. So that's why we said puja room, we get all the gods together, hoping that presence is there in your own home to bless your home. All sorts of ideas we have, but we do not know. What is this word God? It's just a word that humans have created. But what is the truth behind it? A whole book to give you a fair idea. What is this truth? That's the last book that Swamiji wrote, Theses on God. So those who are interested, you can pick it up. Now, holding this view without any idea of who or what this higher aspect of life is, the ruined souls, ruined in the sense, when you see this word, ruined, you must understand as agitated people. People are restless, agitated, worried, anxious. And every time you go through any worry, anxiety, stress or strain, restlessness, you attribute it to the world. I am restless because this is not happening, or this has happened. That is making me restless. You are restless because you have not set the right direction in your life. There is no other reason. How do we say that? Spring, coil spring. Remember, it's a very simple example. So next time you're stressed, keep a coil spring in your house and keep on doing that. See, you don't do it in front of your family members, please. This fellow was normal before he went for... Now what has happened? He's got a spring and he's constantly doing that. So please don't get us into trouble. These are all examples, simple examples. You will remember. You will forget 16 chapter. What chapter we did? Nice chapter. No, we had a nice time, 4 days. When you will remember? After 2 months. But you won't remember the chapter. You won't remember all this. That coil spring I remember very well, that example. But when you remember that example, you must remember why that example was given. Every time you have a problem, please understand it has nothing to do with the world. It has everything to do with your lack of direction. So, if you hold on to this lack of direction, you will be ruined, meaning you will be agitated. You cannot find peace of mind. You can be the richest man in the world. I wish I had time to show you all that. Maybe once I'll show. Otherwise, we can't finish our portions. But here and there, if I give you living examples, then you say, maybe what you're saying is correct. That also suspicion. But even if you have suspicion, that is enough. Then you have to find a way. Howard Hughes, have you heard of that man? Howard Hughes? How many have heard Howard Hughes? Do you remember who he was? Huh? Business magnate. Not only, he was one of the first billionaires in the world. One of the first. In the 30s, 1930s. I'll put a picture of him just to let you know. That's Howard Hughes. Died in 1976. One of the world's richest men. Mr. Hughes was best known as a movie magnate, aviation pioneer, and businessman. He had spent the last 20 years out of the public eye living as a recluse in hotel penthouses around the world. After years of neglect, the body of Howard Hughes was almost unrecognizable, and the FBI had to take fingerprints to identify. Even today, if you go to West Coast, USA, they have a Howard Hughes Avenue. They have Howard Hughes charities, huge buildings. People are benefited today from the wealth that he accumulated then. And this is how he died. Now, we are not complaining. We are not criticizing. What is the point? All that money cannot give you peace. You are miserable, unhappy, unrecognizable. There are a lot of stories, very interesting stories about him. Not to demean that man, but to understand this truth. For that reason you must study. Because what are we all doing? We want more money, more money. Is it wrong? No, we worship Goddess Lakshmi. We have the highest respect for wealth. But not without Narayana. She's an orthodox lady. You cannot approach her directly. You worship Narayana, Lakshmi will automatically come. But you court wealth directly, you will become Kubera, ugly with wealth. You will not be happy. This is what they are trying to say. So holding that view, your alpa buddhi, such a small intellect you have, you don't mean you don't understand. You get into fierce deed. Deeds means you make mistakes, even to the point of destruction. You destroy yourself, you destroy your family. First people you destroy is your own children. You spoil them. Young girl, small girl, once she came up to us and to Swamiji, she was visiting us. From a very rich family, you don't need to know. Rich family, that's enough. 6-year-old, 7-year-old. She's saying, I have iPhone 4, iPhone 5, iPhone 6. She's only 6 years old. iPhone 7, I don't know how many more you have. By the time she's 10, she'll have all the 10, I think. Little child, what will she do with 4 phones? So they don't know. And by the time they become teenagers, so much is given, they have lost all the pleasures of life. Because the parents themselves don't know how to handle wealth. So Swamiji sometimes he tells, an audience, if I were to curse you, I would say, may you be wealthy. So next day phone calls came, Swamiji, please curse us, please curse us. Even that you don't understand, what he's trying to say. It doesn't matter. I don't mind. If you curse or bless, doesn't matter. Cursing also is enough. So much after that commodity that we don't understand what will happen. Infatuated by this wealth. So that's why he says alpa buddhi, small intellect, come forth as enemies for the destruction of the world. We'll carry on tomorrow. Thank you.